Looking to travel in the new year, there are a lot of great cities and countries to visit that you may have never even thought of. And joining us now is Christine Van Blockland. She is the creator and executive producer and host of Curious Traveler on PBS. That sounds like so much fun. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
So let's talk about the best places to visit in 2023.
Well, the good news, the only good news, I guess you can say, kind of coming out of COVID is everybody's back to travel. So,
yes,
of course, there was that spike there where it seems like everything was so expensive. But now things are kind of tapering off a little bit. So 2023, thank goodness, absolutely, is the best time to travel, because also all of these tourism offices that are run by the different governments, they're putting all this money into tourism. So they want American tourists to come and visit.
So let's talk about the European experience.
Yes.
What would you recommend there?
I love Europe. And I think that's a good kind of first stepping stone, maybe for Americans who are a little bit, a little bit hesitant about, like, oh, certain places are a little bit too much for me. Start with Europe. And there's lots of different preferences, we'll call it, different styles of travel to go throughout Europe.
So what if you're on a budget, though? Is there any way to go to Europe? I mean, just the airfare alone. So what would you suggest if you're on a budget?
Well, no matter what, that airfare is going to be the most expensive part of your trip. But don't kind of shoot yourself in the foot and, spend the money on, I don't understand when people do this. Don't spend the money on upgrades. Just, have the good credit card, have the points, and get the free upgrade. Or, heaven forbid, you're in economy for 8 hours. It's only 8 hours of your life. You don't want to spend so much on there and then not have enough for the rest of your trip.
True. So where would you recommend, maybe if you're a first-time international traveler, and I don't know, maybe Europe is too much for you? Where would you go?
Some people might think that too. They think, oh, all these different languages. I think for a first-time traveler, you want to go to England. You want to go to the UK. Speaks the same language. It's not frightening. So start in London. You're going to be flying into London anyway. It's the cheapest way to get there. You can get direct flights there.
You understand everybody.
You understand everybody. Right. Mind your P's and Q's, as the British say, though. Just make sure you're very, very polite there. So start your trip in London. Go see Buckingham Palace. Go see Shakespeare's Globe. Go see the Tower Bridge. Go see London, all the different, the double-decker,
bus
red
ride,
bus. It's
right?
like,
yes,
be a happy tourist. But then, which we're showing right here, hop on a train, don't be afraid, and head out west. It is the Great Western Railway is what we happen to be showing there. That's the easiest way to see the most part of the country. I don't like driving. They drive on the other side of the road, not on the wrong side of the road, the other side of the road. Hop on that train. It'll take you all the way out west. You'll see places
and you look out the windows and see
everything. You get Stonehenge. You get Highclere Castle for Downton Abbey fans out there. Windsor Castle, Bath, and Bristol, and it's just heaven. And you kind of feel a little bit more safe, I guess. Right. You don't have to plan too much. You don't have to be like an adventurous backpacker.
All right. So
what if
you are an adventurous backpacker?
If you are an adventurous backpacker, this was. I mean, there's lots of places
to
choose in the world. One of the places I never thought I would go to, we went and filmed there recently, Arctic Norway, okay?
Ooh,
okay. Exactly, north of the Arctic Circle. So it's not just going out in those kind of little rubber rafts thing and going and adventuring. There's a whole world up there. Look how beautiful that is.
Beautiful, but
look
cold,
how beautiful
probably, right?
Yeah, we were there in Maine, and we were there in May, and we were still cold. You can see there's snow in the mountains, but look how beautiful this is. These little tiny fishing villages. That one is called Lofoten, which probably most people have not heard of.
I had not.
They're crazy up there, crazy in a good way. This is where you get to see the northern lights. They have these wonderful, crazy kind of fish drying racks, which sounds like a weird thing to point out. They're as tall as a church, and they dry their fish on it, and it's been done that way since the Vikings. And there's a Viking museum, which we see right there.
Look at history,
right? It's incredible. And then also, if you keep going further north, there's this town called Kirkenes, right? It's on the Russian border. You can go king crab fishing, which is nuts.
Right.
You can take an ATV tour up to the Russian border, which is nuts. And then you can sleep in an ice hotel, which is
adventurous. All of that.
It's so crazy. And again, you think, Costa Rica, we're going to talk about in a minute. That's an adventure. This is an Arctic adventure of a lifetime. Just think Arctic Norway.
All right. So I've done the Costa Rican adventure, and it's amazing. In fact, I went back and did it again.
Oh, good.
It's so much fun. What would you recommend in Costa Rica?
I love Costa Rica because for Floridians especially, it feels like just kind of Florida, but amped up just enough.
Maybe like Hawaii with a touch of
Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Like Hawaii, but you don't have to be on a plane for that long. I don't have to be on a plane for that long. And things that I love to do there. Whitewater rafting. You can go zip lining over a rainforest. You can go in that little teeny tiny place. There's the zip lining. And you know, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, zip lining maybe you're kind of, you know, it's everywhere now. That's me with that really attractive thing on my head. But it's when you think of the height and you think of how massive and how amazing that rainforest is, there's not that many on the planet. And you get to go and experience it there like that.
It is fun and not as scary as people might think.
No, not at all. I'm just yapping away there. It's fine.
National parks, always popular. Yellowstone, the big ones, and most people have probably been to at least one in their lifetime. So do you have any other maybe off the beaten track suggestions?
Yes, absolutely. Especially for families, we all want to go to Grand Canyon and Yosemite and Yellowstone, but my goodness, during spring break and during summer, okay, crowded, you don't want that. South Dakota seems like I know, it seems like a strange thing to recommend, but look how beautiful it is.
Oh, that is
You've got
gorgeous.
national parks, you've got state parks, of course, you've got Mount Rushmore. There at Badlands National Park, we saw all kinds of wildlife, including rams, and we've got the buffalo traffic jam. You can drive your car through it. It's hilarious. And the last thing, they've got these little tiny, they're not meerkats, they're just little prairie dogs. And if it's so quiet there at sunset, you hear this little beep, 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 beep. And it's just the little prairie dogs kind of popping their heads out and looking.
Good ideas.
And it's you know, half the price probably.
Exactly, I bet it
and
is.
So not crowded. There's my little friends, the prairie dogs.
Thank
it's
you.
heaven on earth. I love it.
Thank you, Christine, for
Yeah,
joining
of course,
us.
my pleasure.
All good ideas. And you can watch Curious Traveler Season 5 now airing on PBS. And Christine is going to start hosting tours of some of the locations featured in her episode. So if you're interested, you can go to CuriousTravelerTV.com/tours.